Hey guys, what's up? Drajansky here back again, and today we're again going to talk about chess basics. So last time we talked about development and central control, and this time we're going to continue with that idea in a little bit of a different fashion. So you might have noticed that if we look at White's position, he has all his pieces developed, except for of course these rooks and his queen. And we also said that you don't really want to develop these pieces first, and you really want to develop your what we call minor pieces first. But in this position, White already has all his minor pieces developed, so I'm going to ask you guys a question. What would you do if you were White here? So we can start by looking at a few moves. We can first start at looking at maybe moving our queen out to any of these squares, but I think this is not a very good move as the queen is doing not a lot on either of these squares. You could also consider stopping what Black wants to do. Black might want to play knight g4, which attacks our bishop, and get the bishop pair, so you might play h3. But in my opinion, the best move here is actually castles, and this is for a few reasons I'm going to talk about. So, first of all, in chess we have to protect our king, because our king is the most important piece. And if Black were maybe to get his bishop here and break and get his rook to the center somehow, our king would be in some trouble. Not right now, but in the future, if he ever gets this through, we might be in trouble. So, we should do is you should castle, because now our king is behind 3 pawns, so there's no way if a rook gets here that it's going to be check, or we're going to have to face the queen rook here. Also, this knight covers the square, so this brings our king to a safer position. And the second reason why castles is a good move is because if you can see, our rook does not really have any future here. He's not going to go towards the center, and both these squares are blocked by a pawn. And by castling now, we can get our rook to e1 and maybe break in the center, which I'm going to talk about next. Or get our rook somewhere else and maybe push this move to activate the rook. Well, in this position, the rook, if he'd have to be activated by h4, and maybe he can't go to h3 because the bishop would take him. h4, maybe h5 and h6, and then he could finally break. But then again, Black could just play this, and your plan is kind of be ruined. So castles is definitely a great move. And so that is why you should, if you have all your pieces developed, you should consider things like castling, and maybe first castling and then maybe connecting your rooks by moving your queen somewhere, and then you can formulate a plan, which is an ideal I'll get to in later videos. So next we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about another idea in chess when you completed your development. It's pawn break. And actually, this pawn break I'm going to show you is not like the ideal pawn break, but it's a very common pawn break on all levels, from beginners to grandmasters. And this is called the Scotch. And it's basically where you immediately go for a pawn break. So now what does this accomplish? So when we went for this pawn break, we are weakening Black's center, as now we have more central pawns than him. And not only are we doing that, but we're getting all our bishops out, and all our knights out, and all our queens can move out. Well, we only have one queen. But with this, White's pieces can easily get out, more easily than Black. If you notice, Black's bishop is kind of trapped here. And this Black bishop only has a few squares. He can only go here, he can only go there, or he can go here, because otherwise he'll be taken. And here he's not really doing much. So we gain space in the center, which I already talked about in the last video about central control. And we also activate our pieces. But what's the downside of this particular pawn break is that after Black takes, because he doesn't want us to win a pawn, and we take back because we don't want to lose a pawn, Black will get a slight lead in development by attacking this, and we'll either have to defend it or take here. And so, in these types of positions, Black has a lead in development, but White has easier access to all his pieces. And if we look at the main line, Black's going to get a doubled pawn, and White will be behind in development. So this is a pawn break that is not the best pawn break, but it definitely gives white good chances, and it allows his pieces to get out, in exchange for that black gets development. So what if we had a pawn break where black does just not get development? So if we look at development here, white has castled his king, which is amazing, and he has 3 pieces developed. Black has 3 pieces developed, but he hasn't castled his king, so black is behind a little bit, and he has played d6. So I'm going to give you a second to think about the ideas we already learned today, and decide what the best move is. So if you said d3, this is certainly a good move, and you could definitely play that, but there's actually an even better move here, and that is d4. Striking in the center, activating your bishop, and also now we have more central control. If you see here, we already control the center, and we have a lead in development with our castling, so d4 is just a definitely natural move in which we attack his center, and we try to punish him before he castles. So here there's a lot of moves, but if black were to do this, then we're definitely better as we control the entire center, except for this square. And also, we have an easy plan of maybe playing f4 and breaking here with another pawn break, or playing something like developing our bishop here, and playing some sort of pawn break with that. And we can also bring our queen to f3 and our rook to e1. It's kind of an easy position for white. And here, black finally castles, but if we look at it, black has no developmental advantage because we have 3 pieces developed and we're castled, and we also control the whole center. So after this pawn break, white is clearly to be preferred. So what we learned today is we learned that when you finish development, maybe you want to castle your king, get your king to safety. King safety is important, and also castling allows your rooks to get in the game. We also learned about what a pawn break does for you and how it can open up your pieces and how it can get you more space in the center. And finally, we looked at an example of where a pawn break for white is just clearly better as he controls most of the center, and he has an easy plan to break again and maybe attack on the king side. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye!